Okay everybody, here we go with the assembly tutorial for the assassins. We're going to look at all four of the assassins in one video, so hopefully that's okay with you, rather than splitting it up and making you find whichever video. So they'll be done sort of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them all out, clean them up, and then I'll assemble one, and then the next, and then the next, and then I'll show them all at the end. And of course, as usual, my blog will have pictures, so I'll do some still images, probably just of the finished models. You've already seen the sprues, so nothing extra to see there. And the assembly is pretty straightforward. I mean, the legs go together, the torso goes on the legs, all that sort of thing. So I don't expect there to be any challenges. If there is, I'll maybe make mention of them. But yeah, so check out my blog for pictures, and let me know what you think about these videos in the comments below. And be sure to check out my other stuff. So I'll come back with these guys cut out, and we'll go through them one at a time. Okay, so I've got all these guys cut out and cleaned up, just using an X-Acto knife to scrape off the mold lines and standard side cutters for clipping them out. Now, a couple of them have some fidgety bits, like the Callidus assassin. Some of these hoses are very fine, so you got to be careful. No problem with the clippers, but if you're using just a knife and a cutting board, it might be a little bit of a challenge. The other thing with assembly is I like to use Tamiya extra thin cement. And you'll see how easy it is to use when I put these guys together. So yeah, not too many pieces for this guy. For the Vindicare assassin, so I'll do him first. Got our main body, and yeah, let's just try putting them together. So I forgot the instructions in a different room, so I'm just going to try to go by look. So I'm going to put the head on first, and so it just kind of goes on there like that. And I think I'm going to do this arm next. So the great thing about these GW single pose plastic minis is the way that they fit together so nicely. Like there's no issues with fit like you might have had with old metal models or fine cast, which was always very problematic. So with this type of glue, all I got to do is put a little bit on there, give it a bit of a squeeze, and because everything's all plastic, it's super lightweight and there's no issues with it falling apart. Put that on there, and everything lines up nicely. And now he's got a grenade, and I'm not 100% sure where that goes. So okay, that's one thing I'm going to have to go back and look at. I'm going to glue him onto the base, but I'm not going to glue this piece behind him. Not onto the base anyways, I'm going to glue it together. It's got two pieces, just like that. And it'll go on behind him, but that'll make it hard for him to get painted up. So I'm just going to glue him onto the base here. Oops. And that's him done. Nope. A bit more glue. Okay, so he's going to go on there. A bit more of a squeeze. We got a 32mm base. I'll just kind of center him on that. Get some glue around the outside. A little bit extra on his feet. And I'm going to put him off to the side. Okay, next up we have the Eversor Assassin. So this one's got the cool base piece here, so I'm going to glue that on there first, just so that it has a chance to set a little bit longer. Because I have a feeling that there's going to be a bit of force on that, so yeah, just a bit of extra glue there. Nice squeeze, and just put that off to the side. Okay, now I'm going to glue his other leg on there. Get it the right way around. There we go. Now I have a feeling that probably should have gone on. Oh, I see. It goes up here. That's probably going to go on there first. Yeah. Okay, so his arm, the nice claw fingers. amazing amount of detail on there that you'd never get in any sort of other medium. Just truly amazing kind of plastic workmanship. Okay, so that shoulder slung sword goes on there. I'll put on his backpack. And we'll get his head on next. Yeah, just putting these guys together, clipping them off the frame and seeing all the detail. It's just stunning what they've done with these guys. I remember when they first came out, I don't know if it must have been second edition that the first version of these models came out, and they were pretty cool at the time. But they got nothing on these ones here, I'd say. I mean, obviously great inspiration, best that they could do with the medium at the time. That being lead or pewter, I don't remember which it was at that point. But yeah, things have come a long way since then. Now, his foot is going to go way up there. There we go. Just push that in there. And there we go. And get this on the base. Make sure I get lots of glue. And there we go. All done. Okay, here we go with the Culexus Assassin. So I'm going to start maybe with a couple of pieces on his head here. So I chose the sort of skull looking face piece. There's two to choose from. It's the only choice you have on any of the models in the Assassin's set. Well, apart from the Chaos Lord, but on the Assassin side. Because of course that the Chaos Sorcerer, he can also be done up as a Terminator Lord, but that doesn't really fit with the fluff of this this standalone game. So obviously you can always use a count as pretty much for anything in this, but that's the way the story goes. I haven't really had a chance to look at the rules yet. I know somebody asked me about them. It looks pretty straightforward, you know, standard turn-based, you know, activate a guy, then move to the next one, that sort of a setup. That's going to go... I'm going to get this right. Each guy has a set number of actions that you can do in a turn, and the Chaos guy is basically just act autonomously, so that's why you can do sort of a collective four-on version of the game. And oh, there's a bit of a posing I can do with that head. So let's see if I can glue that together first. Okay, and then I'm going to put some glue on there, put some glue inside the socket, and just make sure I get this lined up in a way that makes sense. Okay, and then get him onto a base. So I really like that these guys are on 32mm bases. I think that looks going to look a lot cooler once they're painted up. Just I really like the scenic base type thing that GW's been doing with these standalone models. I think it adds a lot to them. Whoops. And yeah, I'd like to see more of it. Now, you know, if you had more than one of these guys in your army, then it might look a bit redundant. But I don't think you're going to have too many assassins in your army, especially not of the same type. Maybe an apocalypse game, but that's a totally different scenario. There we go with that guy. So I think that's acceptable to have these one-off bases that are pretty cool looking. Okay, next up will be the Callidus Assassin. Okay, here we go. So there's a bunch of different parts for the torso here, so let's glue on the front of her chest. Do that first so it has a chance to dry. And now using this super thin glue, you got to be careful not to get too much on there, because if you get it on your fingers, you might leave finger impressions as it sort of softens the plastic. That's the way it welds together, is it softens the plastic and then it re-hardens. Oh, I see, these are going to go onto that bottom part of the torso here. Just like that. Oh, I'm going to get some more glue there. These two seem to going to need to go on about the same time just to make sure everything lines up. So this one might be a little bit fiddly for depending what kind of glue you're using. Make sure everything lines up. There we go. And if you do get a little bit on your finger, you can just smooth it out with a bit more glue. We'll just brush some glue on there. Okay, there's the main torso. Now, this is going to be very fiddly, I can just tell already. Of all the assassins, this one has the finest bits when cutting it out, so you have to be careful with those. But also, as I'm putting her together here, I can just see that this is a very easy to mess up, so something to keep note of. As you're doing it yourself, just take your time. Probably don't want to try to do it as fast as I'm trying to do it here. But hey, you can do whatever you want, I guess. Okay, now let's see if I can get these last pieces attached. So these guys have to let's see which one's which. Okay, this one goes on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place and then just brush a little bit of glue so that it flows in the joint there, making sure that I don't get any on my fingers. A little bit less glue, just like that. A little bit of a squeeze, and we're done. And a little bit there. Okay, now for the other hand, the pistol. That might be a little bit tricky to do it that way, so I'm just going to put a bit of glue on there and try to get these things all lined up. Okay, so that arm kind of goes under like that. Get that sort of in place, and then just make sure the back is lined up. So yeah, that's pretty fiddly. The store that I bought this at, they had a set of these already assembled, and this assassin, they'd replaced these with some wire, which actually looked pretty cool. But I can see that it would be pretty easy to bend or break this stuff. Oh, just lost that arm. Especially sort of the angle that it connects there. Okay, there we go. Got it that time. Kind of an awkward pose. Sorry if I did that off camera, but you can see it's pretty fine detail there. Okay, so I think I'm going to let this dry for a minute. Maybe I'll just glue this onto the top of the base there and then let it dry before I try to do anything fiddly with the head, because it'll be better if this is a bit more solid before I try to put that hair on there or do anything like that. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've given this a minute to dry, so I'm going to try to glue the hair on the top of the head here. Very going to be fine, sort of a fit there. I'm going to have to try to make sure it lines up nicely once it's all in place. Actually, I think that's about right, so it looks like it's pretty straight on. And then try to get this head glued on to the rest of the body here without messing up the placement of the hair. Now another way to do this might be to glue the head on first, let it fully set, and then place the hair, because it's pretty heavy on there. There we go. I think I'm lined up. Just got to get the hair back in place. Okay, I'm going to let that set, get that lined up and let it set, and then I'll put the hair on. Alright, we're all done now. Okay, so let's look at these again. So you got the Vindicare Assassin. I didn't glue the back piece on there, but he's pretty cool looking. I've got the grenade on there now. I forgot to put that on before, or I didn't know where it went, but I was able to look at some pictures. Almost lost it on the floor, so be careful with the little bits. Then I have the Eversor Assassin leaping off this thing here. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's lots of fine details like that. That's sort of a pointy bit there. You never get that in resin or metal, so it's pretty sweet that you can get that in plastic. The Culexus Assassin looks pretty nasty guy there, sort of coming out of the rubble. Pretty cool details, all these little pods at the back here. And the Callidus Assassin, so very fine detail on this one. Very sort of a leaping pose, very dynamic. So anybody who says that you can't get those sort of dynamic poses in plastic clearly hasn't seen these new models, and it's pretty amazing what you can do with this medium that you could never do with anything like metal or pewter, or fine cast or resin or whatever. So anyways, check out my blog. There'll be some still images of these up there, and of course I'll get painting them as soon as I get time. See you next time.